Well, we're back. A lot of you guys are telling me I should have taken that Cordova bumper, and a lot of you guys are telling me I should have taken that Mazda 3 bumper. But last weekend I was a little unprepared. Really didn't think I was going to come here and buy a whole bunch of bumpers and stuff, and I actually carried that Regal bumper all the way out and pretty much destroyed my back. So it's about half a kilometer walk. What's that? 1/3 mile from where I picked up the bumper, threw it on my shoulder and carried it all the way out, and I am some sore. This week has been pretty rough at work, but this week I'm a little bit better prepared. I borrowed a Sawzall from work and a couple batteries, and I brought a wagon. So we're gonna get some bumpers today. I was actually able to negotiate a half decent price on that Cordova bumper, so we're gonna go get that. And then I've been talking to a lot of you guys, and I'm gonna go get some more Mazda 3 bumpers, and I'm gonna try a Mustang bumper. I think I've seen a couple Mustang bumpers hanging out, so I might grab one of them and throw one of those onto the cart. But my God, is it cold today. My hands are already numb. It's a lot colder this weekend than it was last weekend. Holy. So we picked up the rear bumper off the Regal. I didn't even think to look behind it. I only took the front, but if the back's just sitting there off the car too, I might as well grab that. So here's what I'm talking about these Mustang bumpers. Oh, that's a cold wind today. This one here, they look pretty tough. They don't look like unbelievably tough, but I've seen a couple of these actually go through a demolition derby now, and I haven't really seen these bumpers get too banged up here in the beginning. And from what I'm seeing here at the scrapyard, they're actually holding their own pretty good. Now, I'm not going to get this one because it has a giant crease in it. If I'm going to get one, I'm going to get one that's not kind of already mangled up. But that's the Mustang bumper I'm going to be after, is the flat-faced one. We'll see what we can find. I was looking at this bumper. From a distance, it looks pretty good. It's off an 80s Cordova, or I believe this is the same as the 5th Avenue. But it's really just a skin. There's no steel on the inside. There's nothing. So it is not worth my time. If I was maybe building a loaded bumper, that would be worth it. But nope. I'm just going to move on to the next bumper. Not interested in this one. The back bumper is a lot of the same as well. Just a skin, no innards inside of it at all. So here we are back at this bumper, and I'm gonna take it. I brought a couple tools, not a whole lot. The impact gun will not really get in at it. I'm just gonna use the Sawzall and cut through the bumper shocks. I'm not really too concerned. A lot of you guys, your rules say that you can use bumper shocks, but around here it's not a real big thing for bumper shocks. But we're just gonna Sawzall through the bumper shocks, and then when it's on the ground, remove the backing plates. But it's always nice that I can actually find parts for my Firebird. If you take a look here, spare struts, everything that I'm gonna need if I ever break anything on my Firebird, apparently. So that's pretty handy. That's really handy. This one actually looks a lot cleaner than mine, other than the big fire that happened back here. Oh well, let's get this bumper off. So I got the bumper off. I thought it was just bad Sawzall blades, but apparently I was going through springs. I don't really deal with too many of these old cars, so Most of the time I don't really know what I'm expecting when I start cutting into them. Those springs wrecked a lot of Sawzall blades, I think 3. So, lesson learned. Cut halfway through, jump on it, falls off, then rip it off. Pretty cool bumper. Got your typical Canadian rust, but what I find cool is it's got M81 put right into it. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to pick this bumper up and I'm going to throw it on the cart and then we're going to keep walking. Had to remove all the tools so I could put the bumper on there. I really don't see too many of these cars ran around me. The bumpers do look steel backed. But I don't know. I don't really think it's worth the risk on one of these. They are 80s and newer, so if I run into a pinch, maybe I'll come back and steal some of them. But as of right now, I'm not really worth taking the risk over these. Have you guys ran into these bumpers before? With the amount of covers on it, I'm not even sure if they're steel backed or aluminum backed. I don't know. Now here's a Mustang bumper that I want to try. This one here's got no kinks, it's got no rust, it looks pretty solid. I think I'm going to cut this one off. This place here told me that if it has a bumper cover on it, and I remove the bumper cover to remove the motor, I'm going to pay more. So I'm going to take a photo with my cell phone to prove that this car does not have a bumper cover on it. So hopefully when I cut it off, it's actually a little bit cheaper when I go to pay. So the whole reason for that is because if it's got a bumper cover, they'll sell the bumper cover with the motor. So I get it. They want to try to make as much money as possible, and I don't really want the bumper cover. So it's a win for them, win for me. Let's get this bumper off. Should be a little bit easier than the Cordova. Well, that bumper came off a lot easier. 4 13mm bolts. Bumper's actually in pretty good shape. It's a lot lighter than I was expecting, so I'm not super pleased about that, but whatever. Maybe it'll be worth to buy, maybe it won't. I'll learn my lesson. If it's junk, I'll never buy another one. That's the only way you learn, is by trying, right guys? So what we have here is a Grand Prix bumper, or pre-bumper, however you want to say it. It runs the same kind of chassis design as the Regal bumper that I got last week, but if you take a look, that grill goes all the way to the bottom, and I really don't think this bumper is going to be very good. I did take a look at the back bumper. The back bumper looks identical to the other back bumper here, but the only difference is this one is aluminum backing. So an aluminum backing bumper is not worth my time. So sorry, you're just going to sit here for another 10 years. Some of you guys may think these Cadillac bumpers look great, and I will agree to you. They look great. They look tough, but the problem is that they're aluminum backed. They take one hit and they shatter. I don't know if you guys can see back here. Do you see that aluminum tearing? These bumpers are not really that good. This one here is actually a full aluminum back, but it's still not very good. The one I ran in the past actually was just a quarter aluminum back, which it only had aluminum on where the bumper shocks mounted to, and it was not very good at all. So stay away from Cadillac bumpers unless you're going like 70s. Even like 77, they're junk. So make sure you go like 70 to 76, I believe it is. Those Cadillac bumpers are half decent, especially on a mini car. They're nice and light, but they still do a lot of damage. So everybody's asking me what year is a Mazda 3 to use, and to be honest, I'm not really that sure. I ran an 05 and an 04 last year, but this one here is actually very rusty. I'm not even going to waste my time on buying this one. But I don't know exactly the years. I don't know when they change. My wife drives a 2017 Mazda 3, and I do know that 2017, the bumper shocks are a lot different. They don't bolt to the frame. They're actually the frame extending out. So maybe 04 to 09, I'm going to take a guess. But this one here, I'm going to pass up just because of that hole. Let's go try to find another one. Well, that didn't take long. We're about 3 cars away from the red one. And here's a black one. Now this one here does have a little bit of surface rust again, but it actually looks much better condition. I'm going to pass this one up right now and then see if I can maybe find a better one. If I'm paying for them, I might as well have nice ones, right? Oh well, let's pass this one up. Here we go. This is the one I was talking about last week. Let's see what it looks like underneath there. Oh, miss. That one's pretty rusty as well. Yeah, that one's really rusty. Glad I didn't snap that off there last week. I think I'm going to do a big pass by on this one. Maybe I'll go back and get that black one. Well guys, here's my first Mazda 3 bumper I've ever seen with a V in the middle. I don't know what he hit with this, but if you take a look, the hood isn't damaged. But I guess these bumpers do bend. Wow. Haven't seen one like this before. I've got a couple of these today though. Let's see how many more I can get. I've heard some rumors about these Dodge Caravan bumpers. The newer ones, I figured it's worth a try, right? Front one actually looks pretty intense as well, but it doesn't look very long. So the one I'm after is actually on the backs of these. Now I've been told that they're good, but I've never actually ran one myself. First glance, it's really long and it's a rebar, so it's going to be good for popping tires and sticking past the frame rails. But other than that, I don't really have any indication on how these things are actually going to do. So figured it's worth the buy to try it. So let's take her off and see what she looks like when she's off. At first glance, this bumper really doesn't look like anything special, but it actually got a little bit of weight to it. I think I have maybe too many bumpers. I might put the Mustang one back. It's only like a 2-pound bumper. So I'm not really sure how it's going to hold up in a demolition derby. And rules of physics is if it's got a bend like a oval, it's going to be a stronger bumper than a straightaway. So I might throw that Mustang bumper back. Not 100% sure at this point in time, but yeah, we'll toss that one back, I think. We're just getting too many bumpers on the carts and they're not really staying on there very well. Well, here we are talking about bumpers again, and I'm pretty much back into the exact same spot I was about 3 weeks ago. I went there last weekend and I bought a bumper, and I thought about it all week and I wanted to go back and I wanted to buy more. So I actually went back and got that Cordova bumper. When I went down to that swap meet in the US, there was a lot of these bumpers there, but they're all quite pricey. And if you guys don't know this, for every $100 Canadian, for every $100 American, it cost me about $130 Canadian to get. So the price of some of those bumpers down there, I would have been paying about $260 for, and realistically that's just a little bit much for me for a bumper, especially when these are 70s bumpers. This one right here is actually a 76, so it's kind of hard for me to be able to run them up here. I like bumpers, but I also like being able to run the bumpers. So now we got ourselves a Cordova bumper. We're just going to carry it out. It's not the cleanest bumper in the world, but it's still a pretty good bumper. On the front of a Toyota Camry, I really think this thing would be one heck of a weapon, but we'll see what I put it on. Who knows? Maybe I'll cut the bumper going off down to a derby that I don't want to mention yet, but maybe I'll cut the front off of Infected and weld this thing on, because this thing is mean. It's not super clean, but it's mean. So let's get this thrown into the bumper pile. You guys see me get the front of that Regal bumper last week, so here's the back of that Regal bumper. Again, not the cleanest bumper because we are up here in Canada, but I don't see any massive rot on this thing, and realistically that's all I'm really looking for. We don't have ourselves a big heck of a point or anything like that. The bumperettes have actually rotted off, which is weird because the rest of the bumper is in really good shape. I don't know why the bumperette's wet, but the reason why I really like these bumpers is because around me it's all 80s and newer. So as long as the bumper is 80s and newer, you're okay to run it. So this 84 Buick Regal bumper is 80s and newer, so that's why I like picking these things up. Always a good buy when you can get a good steel back bumper and pretty much run anywhere here in Ontario. There's only like 2 demolition derbies I can't run this at, maybe 3. And for you guys that watch my channel, you guys all know that last year I tried a Mazda, holy that's loud, I tried a Mazda 3 and the car really wasn't that impressive, but the bumper, that Mazda 3 front bumper was one of the toughest bumpers I ran last year. So we've got a couple different Mazda 3 bumpers here. Now this blue one I believe was off an 04. As you can see, it's got no hole here, and as you see, it's got welds all the way down across. Now this one right here I believe was off an 05, 06. As you can see, there's a hole but there's no welds. It's a little bit different design. And this one right here was off another car. As you can see, no hole, and then the welds, it doesn't really look like they're that impressive. So I chose these 3 mainly because the least amount of rust I found at them on the yard. But I also chose them because they're a little bit different varieties, so I can start seeing which ones are better and which ones are not so good. But right now we have 3 Mazda 3 bumpers, and we will be running a lot of these up in the upcoming 2018 season. I know that you guys on the internet do not really think that these Mazda 3 bumpers are that impressive, but honestly, I was impressed. The only thing I do not like about these is they pretty much flush mount with the end of your frame, so it doesn't give you any overhang, so you can't really go around and poke people's tires. But on the front of a Toyota Camry, I thought these things did great. So let's get these over to the bumper pile. Now the last bumper I got was a little bit something that people have been telling me is really good that I haven't really had a chance to try yet. And this is a Dodge Caravan, I believe 2004, a newer Dodge Caravan rear bumper. I've heard things that these bumpers are pretty intense. I haven't actually had a chance to run one of these yet. But you know what, here in the 2018 season, I will be starting to run these bumpers. I'm going to test this one out, see how it is. It is not the cleanest bumper. It does have surface rust, but it's got no holes in it. It's still a fairly good bumper. So we will be running this bumper this season and seeing how it does. I also got a Toyota strut because it was on the ground. You want to see it? So there was a Toyota and the strut was just sitting on the ground. So I was like, I can't pass up that strut. So I just grabbed the strut. So I got myself a Toyota strut too. I'm happy. But thanks for watching, guys. Is there any rebar bumpers that you guys know of that you think are really strong, that you think I should try? I haven't had overly good luck with a lot of GM products front bumpers, so I'm not really going to be running any GM front bumpers. I tried a Chevy Uplander minivan rear bumper this year, and I was not impressed. So I think putting GM bumpers on the front of my Toyotas are pretty much a waste of a Toyota. So what do you guys think? Do you know of any good rebar bumpers I should give a try? Leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.